Welcome to the Fragrance Files.
Welcome to the Fragrance Files.
I was never really into perfume when I was growing up. I just kind of thought that they all smelled very similar, at least the ones that I saw at the department store. And so, it wasn't until I got into indie perfumery that I really started to get into perfumes. And um, personally, in my work, I just kind of like to do whatever feels like the world in my head smells like, rather than like following all of these set in stone rules that other perfumers follow of like using all of these materials like ambroxan and isoe super just to make like a base. I guess what I would want to say is my perfumery style is different than a lot of mainstream and even a lot of niche brands because I grew up always wanting to smell things that were like really pretty and sweet and not necessarily perfumey, ambroxan and stuff I like, but it makes me sneeze. so
Same.
so it's, I basically recreate the world as I see it in my fragrances, and I see it in a very colorful, happy way.
So, thank you so much, Ember, for joining us today. For those who don't know, Ember is the owner and perfumer behind Hoshi Gato perfumes. And I'm so excited to have you here today and so excited to be discovering going through the samples that I got from you recently. And there is really just so much joy in your fragrances. They bring me so much light, and they all feel very dreamlike. Was that something that you set out to do, or is it a did you develop that along the way?
When I was originally developing like the brand around the fragrances,
Mm.
I came up with the name Hoshigato, which is kind of a mnemonic that I used to help me learn Spanish and Japanese in high school. Um, and when I was thinking about that, I mean, it's kind of a long story with the mnemonic part, but when I was thinking about it, the character that came up for me was like a cat who sleeps in the clouds and like plays with the stars and stuff like that. So my branding is very much like, you know, dreamy, celestial cat vibes.
Leia's feeling those vibes. She cannot stop jumping in.
And before we dive into all of the expounding questions that come from that, can you give everyone a little bit of introduction about who you are and the brand itself?
My name is Ember Bennett, and I started making perfumes in like late 2019. And I didn't start selling them until 2024, in like June. So I was making fragrances for a really long time before I launched anything. Um, and really, what I wanted to do with my fragrances is just make things that I felt like other people just kind of strayed away from making. Um, you know, Whenever I would smell something that was described as like fruity or gourmand or something, it just all had that like that same kind of perfumey adult type of mature base to it. And I just kind of thought, if I was gonna make something fruity and whimsical or dark and mysterious or something, I would just like go all in on that, and not be afraid to stray away from like the conventional feeling of a lot of perfumes that I grew up smelling.
I think all of us in this indie space feel very much like that. Like we just want more. We just want something interesting that's going against the status quo. We're all really very punk rock at the end of the day.
And I liked the way Mishi described your fragrances do come across very kind of dreamlike. They sometimes feel more to me like a memory or an atmosphere than like a physical object or a time and place. And do you feel like that style of work that you have and the kind of that more playful approach that you have both in your branding and perfumery is taken less seriously than more technical perfumery? And I used air quotes for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
I recently actually came in with a designer. She's gonna help me like do a little bit of tweaking on my brand and make it a little bit more streamlined and everything. And one of the things that I told her was that I feel like people don't take my brand as seriously because it looks really cute. You know, and I want to keep the cuteness, but perhaps, make it look like an adult designed it maybe a little bit. So, like, leaning more into, like, Sanrio and stuff like that, which is kind of where I got my inspiration from, but I'm not as adept at it as she is, so I think, you know, continuing, it's gonna be a cute brand and it's gonna be like a whimsical thing. And I think that a lot of like cute and feminine designs aren't really taken super seriously. Um, and also, I feel like, you know, I've had a couple people do blind smells of my fragrances, and the way that they describe it without having seen my branding is very different. I think that the branding does play into how people view the fragrances as being kind of like maybe childish or mm, not very mature, but I think there's something that I would like to smell and I'm an adult, so
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's very much the opposite. Like all of them felt very very complex and not what I would consider. I mean, I think it's so pejorative to say that something is like juvenile or saying things like
Mhm.
so or like old lady. It's so ridiculous to like assign an age to fragrances. But that being said, I didn't feel that any of them came off juvenile in any way. I love the packaging. Like when I opened my box and I saw this, I had such a smile on my face. Like this is so cute and so exciting. My daughter will likely steal it from me, but but we can enjoy it together is all that means.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt any pressure to make your work more direct or more mature? Air quotes again on
Yeah.
mature.
I feel like, you know, I really haven't felt the need to change the profile to be more mature, although I have felt like, I don't know, maybe I should just, like, put a big amount of ambroxan in there or something, and I have experimented with it. It's not like I'm against it, it's just, like, I want to avoid making something that smells more like a perfume than it does like a thing or like just a memory that I have or like a place that I like to be in. Um, which, you know, Creep and a lot of my other like more popular fragrances are like very memory focused for me.
Mhm.
And so I wouldn't want to necessarily change my style. I have felt a little bit pressured to maybe like make my branding a little bit more basic, but I don't really want to do that because so many people like it. And I feel, you know what? It's just gonna be how it's gonna be, you know? And people like uniqueness, you know? And for anybody who doesn't like it, then there's a million other brands that are branded differently.
Yeah. I you mentioned adding ambroxan to your fragrances, and I think it would be really interesting to know because you know so much about the technical side of things. What does adding ambroxan or overdosing ambroxan into a fragrance really do to that composition for you?
Well, I honestly like it. I like it when other brands do it sometimes, like, Cirrus, Zoe at Cirrus perfume. She made a perfume called, Moonbathing, and that
Love
one has a
moonbathing.
huge Ambrox overdose in it, and I really like that one. It's just that, like, for me, whenever I spray it on myself, it makes me sneeze a lot, and it makes my nose, like, stuffy. I wouldn't say that I'm, like, necessarily allergic to it, but I think it just kinda overwhelms my nose when I first spray it on me, and it just kinda, like, makes me stuffy, and it makes it a little bit hard to work with.
Yeah, if for and moonbathing is definitely an exception to this. I have a 10
Mhm,
ml of it and I absolutely adore it. But I think a lot of times when ambroxan and is overdosed, and I mean, I guess I put it into the same category in my mind as super ambers, where they just make things feel really sharp to my nose.
mhm.
But that being said, it's not a note I will discount if I see it, if I think the perfumer did it well.
Yeah, I think maybe I talk about Ambroxan as an example too often, but I'm talking about like, you know, like the flowery, ambery, ISO-y super and
Mhm.
and muget base that all of these designer perfumes have. And, whenever it's like a different perfume, they just change like a couple of things and it just doesn't feel like what it's marketed as. I guess like when somebody in a designer brand markets their fragrance as being like a fruit salad or something like that, it just smells like amber and muguet and like a little bit of ethyl maltol.
Yeah.
And that just makes me so mad. Like I just want to smell like what it wants, what it says it smells like. And I feel like they're doing a little bit better job nowadays. Like I've seen a lot of diversity in brands and like diversity in what they carry at Sephora and stuff like that. But when I was growing up, it wasn't really like that all that much.
Yeah. I think we're starting to see baby steps there. I feel like
Mhm.
if Sephora would carry some of the brands that they carry online in their stores, I think they would be so much better off because some of my favorite brands that are on Sephora are on their website only. And it like I want to go in store and I want to experience them and I want more people to be able to experience them. But it's I can talk for an entire episode on my gripes with Sephora.
I saw some other creators talking about how like competitive the fragrance shelf at Sephora is, and like how you have to get people like always over there smelling things and buying things if you want to keep your spot.
Oh yeah.
So it's difficult, especially for like a niche brand, because people don't want to go to the Sephora and smell like Toscabat or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. They also have a very heavy hand in once you sign on as one of their brands, they get very heavily involved in your creative process.
Hmm.
Where
Yeah.
if it's going to be released with them, they have to have final approval of the fragrance. So I know it's taken some brands in a different direction.
Yeah,
Some,
that's a big complaint I see a lot of people
yeah,
have.
some good, some horrendous. Boy smells. Don't think we forgot about you.
Yeah.
Um,
It's been a few episodes. I hate boy smells. Let's put it out there. Um, but getting back to you as the guest of the episode,
Tangents.
we were talking a little bit about you. Your perspective is, you want a perfume that smells like what you wanted it to smell like, whether that is
Yeah.
Fruit Loops and
Mm,
almond milk, or
I love
this
that one.
dream of blueberries and clouds. And
Mhm.
how do you approach translating something intangible like a rainbow into a perfume?
Not always the same, but when it comes to rainbow, I actually didn't intend for it to be a rainbow scent. I was trying to make a just like a fresh strawberry moment, but I discovered using my like floral materials that I was making something that smelled like a waterfall, like a misty waterfall, and I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna roll with that." And then I just kind of finished it out as rainbow. But usually I'll have a vision, like when I did Creep, which is one of the perfumes I've been working on since I first started perfumery. That one was inspired by a memory I had of me and my friends, like before the first day of my senior year. I had always been friends with seniors, so that year I was like, "Oh my god, am I gonna like have to sit alone at the lunch table?" type of thing. I was really nervous to go to school the next day. And then one of my sister's friends comes over at like 10 o'clock at night, like the day before school. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Hey, there's a meteor shower outside. Let's go watch it." And we lived in a really small rural town, so you could just like go anywhere and sit down and watch something. So we took an old mattress from our garage and dragged it all the way over to like the old cemetery in town and just laid there and watched the shooting stars at night and just like slept there. Got on the bus the next day.
Oh,
I love it.
that's a
As
beautiful
someone who
memory.
took many MySpace photo shoots in a cemetery, I relate.
Same.
Yeah. Ours wasn't super aesthetic. It was from like the 1800s and like there was like five graves there. It's a super small town. Nobody freaking lives there. So we weren't really concerned about staying out there all night.
I'm smelling through as you're describing all of them, and I love hearing what goes what goes into that experience
Oh,
for
and
you.
I guess I kind of forgot to say how I did it, but
Yeah.
uh Actually, for creep, I did put some ambroxan type material in there called Cetylox, and it's because I felt like it belonged there. I don't add things to fragrances that don't really belong there for me just because they're supposed to be in there. Um, and when it comes to like formulating a fragrance, I always do it from scratch. I don't have accords that I mix together, and I don't have like one strawberry accord that I use throughout my fragrances. I have a couple of different methods that I've talked about in the Introduction to Perfumery guide that I wrote, which is 100% free if anybody wants to become a perfumer someday.
Love that.
um, and one of the methods that I like to use is core to the outskirts, kind of. So you start with a core accord of like five materials, and you get your like basic concept down. Like when I was making strawberry milk cake, I made like a very basic vanilla cake accord with like one strawberry material in it, and I made that like solid. And then I went out and I added some things that would like make the formula a little bit more complex, some more stuff to the cake accord, some more stuff to the strawberry accord to just kind of complexify it. And then to the outskirts, the very outskirts, the finishing touches, the stuff that just kind of makes it sparkle, and adjustments that I make in order to make it last and perform the way that I want it. So that's one of the methods. I've also used what I call like a base to top method, where I start with the base notes and then I work my way up to the top notes. Which I like that method because the top notes are the first thing you smell. So you really want that to be the last thing you make because it gives you a lot of control over that first impression. And that way you're not like changing the top notes because you have to add more base notes or anything like that. You already know what it's doing, you know? If I could
That's
explain
a
it like that.
really interesting perspective too, because
Mhm.
there are a few brands out there that I have personal beef with because I think their openings are super strong and then their dry downs suck.
That was one of the things, like, I, as a fruit person, obviously am always thinking about the fruit, which is usually a top note. And so I started doing the base to top method because I was finding myself having a really, really nice opening, and then just the base notes were just bad.
Mud. Yeah.
So I start from the base notes and then go to the top. So I have a really solid foundation and a good middle note. And then I can play with the stuff that I like, which is top notes.
Is there anything that you think people misunderstand about your approach to perfumery?
Not really necessarily my approach, I don't think. But I'm in the beginner perfumery community a lot. I really like helping other people figure out this medium because it's really secretive and like historically has been pretty impossible to break into for anybody who's not like in the circle who gets to go to the French perfumery schools and stuff like that. um, but there's just a lot of misinformation about perfumery in general online, especially because like the only thing that comes up when you Google how to make a perfume are like SEO intense SEO blogs about like how to mix essential oils and baby powder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, every every other week we get some sort of like new batch of blogs that people are reading, and they have a new batch of misconceptions about perfumery that we have to kind of go over and be like, no, just don't Google how to make a perfume.
Right.
Like, recently there's been, like, a lot of people making tinctures. I just made a video about that on TikTok, and, people not just making, like, a tincture, but, like, putting a bunch of honey and cinnamon and stuff in alcohol and thinking that that is how to make a perfume.
Babe, that's mead. You just made
Yeah,
mead.
and it's like, that would be great to drink, but you are making a drink.
Right. Can you share some of the resources and locations like base notes on the internet that does have good information if someone is
Yeah,
listening and wants to research more?
yeah. So, on my website, hoshigato.com, I have a free introduction to perfumery guide. And that'll take you from your first order of, your aroma chemicals and wear and all of the other stuff, all the way to making your first perfume. So it takes you through, scent studies, blending, IFRA, and, pretty much anything you would want to know before making a perfume. And also, if you have questions, you can go on r/DIY fragrance on Reddit. That's where I usually am. Base Notes also has a forum, although I find it kind of hard to navigate to. You probably have to search their DIY fragrance forum on there on Google just to get to that page because they redid the thing and it's hard to navigate to nowadays. Um, and then also there are creators on TikTok. 1618 Tuesdays. God,
Oh,
I
Sarah
can't.
Sarah
McCartney.
McCartney.
Sarah
Yeah.
McCartney. God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah McCartney makes perfumery content. I don't know who people are watching nowadays. I think they used to watch Sam Mercer. I don't know if there's like any other new creators who are teaching beginner perfumeries skills besides me, Sarah. Atwood has been making some perfume videos on
Mhm.
TikTok where he talks about like some notes and perfume chemicals and stuff like that. But always go to a perfumer, like a website or a blog that has perfumers in it and not a Google blog that's like telling you how to mix essential oils together. That's just
Yeah.
like the number one rule. Just ask a perfumer and you'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Essential oils are not perfume, people. Sorry.
You can make a perfume with essential oils, but they're, the number one way you can tell is if they're telling you to like put 5 drops of lavender in like a glass of water or something like that.
Yeah, essential oils on my skin
Yeah.
make me incredibly, incredibly nervous.
So I think that's an interesting segue to you mentioned you started looking at perfumery in like 2019,
Yeah.
and you previously had not really been a fan of perfumery because you felt that it didn't match your expectations. But what did that actual journey look like for you from going like, I want to smell what I want to smell to, well, I guess I'm a brand now?
I was really interested in it and really not to make a brand necessarily because I didn't know if I would ever make anything that other people would want to buy. But I just kind of wanted to make something that I wanted to smell like because I was tired of not having a fragrance that I liked really. I did like a lot of indie fragrances, but they just weren't like exactly what I wanted. Um, and so, like I said, there's a really not a lot of information about perfumery online, and there was even less when I first started. We did have Sam Mercer, um, and we did have base notes, and I think we had DIY fragrance on Reddit as well. And through there, I managed to find a Discord server full of other perfumers that I would ask questions to and get advice from. Really, a lot of the way that I learned perfumery was to get in touch with other indie perfumers online. Other than that, I would probably be like helplessly blending chemicals together and maybe making bad tinctures or using fragrance oils or something like that.
We talked about how your fragrances have this dreamlike state to them. Do you think that people are comfortable with ambiguity in their fragrance, or um do you think it'd be challenging for some people to not have sort of a direct pathway of this is what I'm smelling?
I think, personally, I like to put notes in there that are what I smell when I finish the perfume. So, because most people can't smell my perfumes in real life before they sample them or buy them. But I do think that a lot of people are like really harping in on notes,
Mhm,
especially I like these notes and I don't like these notes types of things because every perfumer is going to do those differently.
mhm.
I know a lot of people don't like lavender, but they will like lavender in some perfumes. And I like to tell them, like either there's so many different types of lavender. And surprisingly, they all smell incredibly different. Like spike lavender and Bulgarian lavender smell like two completely different materials. Um, and really, what's more helpful than looking at notes is to look at the perfumer, you know? If you find a perfumer who has a style that you like, then they could probably make almost anything smell good to you.
I think that speaks a lot to like perfumer DNA.
Mhm,
We've talked about it on a few episodes where if you're someone who reviews and kind of collects and experiences as many perfumes as some of us do, you do hone your nose to pick up on that unique style. Like I can pick up an
mhm,
Anton Lay perfume and be like, oh, I know who did this.
mhm.
Similarly, you can pick up any Hoshigato perfume and you're like, oh, okay, I know where I'm at because
Yeah.
you have a very distinctive thumbprint that you bring to your perfumes. And to to your point, I will trust a white floral by Anton Lay before I trust a white floral from any Sephora brand.
Mhm.
White florals are one of those categories that's really hard for me,
Yeah.
but I will still smell it because if anyone's going to do it right, it's going to be someone that I like their style of perfumery.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, the copy and the perfumer tell me more about a fragrance than any notes will. And I will say this until I'm blue in the face. I will tell people that notes are just the marketing.
Mhm,
But I think you need to go into fragrance with an open mind and not think, I'm not going to smell that because it has rose and I don't like rose. I think once you allow yourself to um to just say, well, what if I just smell it just so that I know? I'll know for sure I don't like it. Once you start doing that, it really opens your eyes to so many different things
mhm.
to the point where, like, I think with the exception of blood notes, there is not a single note in fragrance where I would say, I don't like that.
Yeah, I think, there are a lot of people who just aren't open to, trying perfumes that have one of their death notes in it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, as for me, I don't really even have time to wear perfumes a lot of the time because I'm either working with aroma chemicals and I have to be like scent neutral, or, I'm like working on my stuff in my house and I don't feel like it. But um, I'll buy a perfume because it smells or it seems like it smells interesting. Just because I want to expand my mind and my palate a little bit. Rarely do I ever buy something because I think I want to wear it, like outside. I just smell it, buy it because I want to smell it, really. And I think people, I mean, I know, the economy is really bad right now. So people want to buy something that they think is a guarantee they're going to like it, you know? Um, Although I also think that the description of the feel of the fragrance is way more important and like indicative of how it smells than like the notes because I could make a sour strawberry note or like a really sweet patchouli note, and somebody else might make like a really earthy herbal patchouli or like a super sweet syrupy strawberry. You never know.
Yeah, I do try to when I'm describing a fragrance that I'm smelling, I do try to add those qualifiers and those sensibilities to it because I just said white florals are really tough for me. I often get like cat piss bubble gum from tuberose,
Mhm.
but that's also why I don't do like first reactions to fragrances because I'll be like, nope,
Mhm.
cat piss. But
Okay.
I keep going back to it because I can still smell everything else in the framework, and I can be like, okay, well, if this did smell like a lovely indolic white floral to me, I see how this whole picture comes together now.
Mhm.
It's not for me, but I can tell who would resonate with this fragrance because it has these indolic notes and these really sweet bass tones that complement it.
That's another thing. I often think that, well, I see a lot in like fragrance snark TikTok where people will be like, I smelled that perfume and it smelled like shit, actually. I think they might be lying as to what the notes in that perfume are. How dare they lie about the notes? And it's like, just because you can't smell the note doesn't mean it's not like what the perfumer intended it to smell like.
I do love as I like show people who aren't like super into perfume stuff. I love when they tell me that they get something that like I don't have a reference for in the perfume, the copy doesn't
Hmm.
have, the notes don't have. Like
Hmm.
that's one of my favorite things. I loved Sweet Ash by Sniff. I wore it quite a lot. My ex-husband was like, "That smells like pineapple," and I was like,
Pineapple.
What do you
Pineapple
mean?
does have kind of like a metallic thing
And
to it.
I had to sit and I was like, vanilla, oak moss, juniper. Okay, so like sharp and sweet. Okay, now I can
Mhm.
construct like where you're getting pineapple. And it's like a fun exercise. It's like Dada almost. It's like an unfinished drawing where you're like, what do you see? Um, yeah, I love when people don't smell the notes because it gives you such a cool insight into the way they perceive fragrance.
Yeah, and like perfumery chemicals, like there's often like tens of, maybe sometimes even like 100 or so chemicals in a perfume, and your nose can be like super sensitive to some of them and pick up on like way differently than how somebody else picks up on it. Like some people come up to me and they ask me about, it smells like there's this in one of your perfumes. I can't understand why because it's not in the notes. I don't understand. It's not in the notes. And I'll be like, like, which of my chemicals could possibly have given that impression? And, even with aroma chemicals, I often talk to other perfumers about like the weird connotations we have when we smell them. Like, aldehyde C6 smells like expired Slim Jims to me. Because I don't know why, but like every single, like, I love Slim Jims. I love them for breakfast, especially like I used to be a line cook, so that was like my breakfast all the time. And I have on multiple occasions gotten an expired one.
Yeah.
So that's just like what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I always when I'm like smelling through things with a customer, my philosophy is like if you smell it then yeah, then that's what it is. I'm not
Yeah.
going to try to convince you of otherwise because if that's what your nose is getting, that's totally fine. It's not for you or you love it, let's go. You know?
They view fragrances very like set in stone, like when I was talking about dupes and how, I was really upset that one of my friends had his fragrances duped, like a small indie perfumer, which, should be safe from that kind of thing, had his fragrances duped. I got so many comments from people being like, well, you can't copyright a smell. It's just a smell. You don't own it. Like, how do you even own a smell? And it's like, you don't know what goes into doing that. It's not just like putting the strawberry in and the grass in and the patchouli in. It's like building those things up chemical by chemical in your own special way. It's not like a, and the notes aren't even real. It's just like what you think when you smell
Yeah.
it. So it's just like what you're doing is you're smelling a big vat of chemicals diluted in alcohol and saying, that reminds me of this. And so, I mean, if it reminds you of something, then that's how it works. It's how your brain works.
Oh, it makes me really sad that an indie brand is getting duped. That's yeah. I mean, that's the space that I want to be kept safe from all of that. I mean,
Mhm,
I'm personally somebody who doesn't purchase dupes, but um I can understand the affordability conversation and
mhm.
don't discredit that at all, but indie work I think should be protected. Oh, I mean all perfumery should be protected, but indie work especially I feel very protective over.
I am on the other fence. I am staunchly against dupes. If you can't afford
Mhm,
the real thing, buy a good cheap fragrance. There are plenty of them out there.
There are
mhm.
so many good cheap fragrances out there. I agree.
Yeah. The way that I view, I know there's like a huge portion of the fragrance community who just view it as this smells good and I want to smell good and that's all. I don't care about anything
Mhm.
else. Although me as like an artist, I buy perfumes from small like independent perfumery houses only. I don't buy perfumes from like big brands because I want to feel connected to the art and that's the only thing that I want. Like if I can't afford a fragrance from a certain brand, then I'm like, man, I'm sure it smells really good. I wish I could smell it, but I'm not going to try to steal this person's work, you know. Just going to respect that, it's not for me at this point in time, maybe in the future. Um, and so, yeah, it doesn't have any use for me if I'm not getting it from the artist, Don't really have that connection to the art.
I think it was LC that compared it to which when she said she hates bad art, and it was the idea of your parents buying the fake Thomas Kincaid that doesn't even have any gesso on it, And it's that idea of, if you can't afford a Rembrandt, that's fine. Most of us can't. But that doesn't mean you can't find a cool artist at your local street market that's doing cool paintings.
Yeah, and that was, like, one of the top comments on the videos that I've made about dupes and how I don't personally, buy them because I think that they're stolen art. People are like, "Well, what do you expect us to just spend $500 on a fragrance?" And I'm like, "I have
No.
never done that. I have never spent that much money on a perfume." If there's a fragrance out there that's $500, I'm just like, "Good for them." It's not for me. I'll find another artist to support, with the amount of money that I can afford to buy things. And there are so many indie perfumeries that are affordable, and
Oh
I have
God,
just
yeah.
never had a problem shopping within my budget.
Yeah. There's never been a fragrance that was $500 that I was like, "Oh, I absolutely need this." A
Yeah, I mean,
$500 fragrance has never made me cry.
I'll revisit the siren song of the Pluto fragrance at Stell with that glass bottle and the
Oh,
solid brass hardware.
yeah.
The like $1,400 crazy. I mean, but it's not the perfume. It's like the art piece, the like
Yeah.
one of one
Mhm.
glass bottle, the like hand machined hardware. Like there's so much that goes into that. And even as someone who has a substantial perfume budget, I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't immediately go, well, let me go find a dupe of this fragrance. I was like, that is an art form that I can appreciate from afar.
Yeah. Especially with that bottle. You can't dupe that.
1511 is a total outlier when I think I talk about these things because there are other fragrances in that price range that do not have even half of the uniqueness or half of the artistry behind everything about the brand, right? Like they are individual, one of a kind hand blown glass bottles. The formulas are incredible. They're using the highest quality ingredients.
Mm.
And then in compared to a brand that, and I won't name names, but a luxury brand um that has
Do
Roja. It's Roja. um that has fragrances and listen, I love a lot of Roja fragrances. I love Lost in Paris so much. I will never spend $1,300 on that fragrance because there's nothing
Mhm.
about that fragrance that justifies that price tag for me. That is a price tag that is just to ice out anybody who can't afford it. And that to me is very different than, an indie artist who has very slim margins, who's making a fragrance that's $200 but using the best quality ingredients that they can get and putting their heart and soul into something. To me those things are wildly different.
Yeah, and I think, even harkening back to the, part about my branding and what that says, there are perfumers who want to charge a lot of money because that gives them prestige, like, just the price
Mhm.
tag itself
Yeah.
makes them seem higher quality. Uh, when there are, a lot of really, really affordable, like, downright cheap indie brands that are the same quality.
Yeah.
And, I'm in the beginner forums a lot, like at r/DIY fragrance, and there every single day there's somebody posting, "I would like to make a high quality luxury perfume brand, and I would like to do it in 2 months." And
okay.
it's like they put more effort into the branding and, like, the aesthetic and the words that they're going to use to describe the perfume to sell them for that price than they will into actually working to make the perfume. And, I would expect somebody who's selling a $400 perfume to have had 10 years of experience or something like that, you know? Like, you're paying for the amount of labor somebody has put into the art themselves.
Yeah. And I don't think that they realized that we could see right through that. Like if that is immediately apparent.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe to us because we smell hundreds and hundreds of fragrances, but yeah, when it's just a money grab, it's very, very obvious to me.
Yeah, I think and this is probably a whole episode we could do at some point, but the idea of luxury in perfume is such an interesting topic because, like, lots of people want the vision and price point and appearance of what they think luxury is
Mhm.
without delivering a true luxury product.
I'll say just this one point. I think if we look to fashion and we look to the quality of where the luxury fashion brands are right now, their quality is gone significantly down over the years. Prices keep rising, right?
Yeah.
And I will point back to the people I always point back to that ruin everything, ruin the party all the time: private equity, venture
Yep.
capital, the evil overlords. And what that and it is taking over the fragrance industry. And I think that's why we are so in love with indie, because it's not quite got its hands on indie yet. It does in some aspects that most people are maybe not as aware of. But once they take over and once they own everything, the quality of everything goes to shit.
Mhm.
And that's, I think,
It's
why we're
just
seeing
yeah.
the quality of designer fragrances decrease. It's happening to niche. We talked about this a lot with the guys with Stell. Like, they will bleed it dry at some point.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
digress. We'll get into a whole episode about
Yeah. I would
that.
love to talk about it, although I'm not really into the luxury fragrance brands. Like I said, I shop at like small, very small indies, single owner. Never really been in a big ass store or anything like that type of fragrances, but
Yeah.
I do have a lot to say about the way that I see it going as somebody who sees a lot of people who are getting into this art form for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think
see that.
people are seeing it as a cash opportunity and not as an
Mhm.
art form.
And it's not. It is so not.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I really appreciate you in your social media presence is you are a business owner, you are a perfumer, but you're also a steward of the community. You're so transparent with educating people, getting people interested, talking about things that have gone wrong for you along the way. Um, and it's really commendable because I think a lot of people have this vision of like, you have to go through the hardships yourself. You have to
Mhm.
figure it
Yeah.
out on your own.
And it is like that in the perfumery community as well. Like when I first started, I was on base notes and I would ask questions like what what makes a blue muscacore? Like what chemicals are in that? And I would get answers like notes aren't real and blue musk isn't a real thing. And I'm like, I know, but just tell me what the smell is, please.
But we
Like,
both know what we're talking about, so you
yeah,
could
it's
tell
like
me. Yeah,
we just drop the bullshit for 5 seconds. I understand. And, I kind of understand it sometimes. Like, there are people who ask the same questions over and over again in these forums, and then people start being like, okay, just search. But I do search. Okay. I always search the subreddit or the forum before I ask questions. So I know for a fact that I am the first person to ask this question or the first person to do it in 5 years. So
right.
just trust that I know what I'm doing.
No, I agree with Josh that, I love the education that you're bringing to the community. And that could be a double-sided thing, because I think you have a lot of appreciation from a lot of people. You also get a lot of hate from people when you educate them and tell them the truth about the fragrance industry.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, especially like the most controversial thing I've ever said is with dupes.
Mhm.
And I think, sometimes people on TikTok just don't they're not able to comprehend more than 30 seconds of information, and my
Mhm.
videos are often way longer than that. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, I would never say, yes, you do have to buy the $500 perfume.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm forcing you to do this. More like there are several indie brands that have really high quality stuff and they don't charge a shit ton of money. And you don't have to buy all of your perfumes from Sephora or another place. You can, shop around and, experience fragrance as an art. But also, I'm not the cops. Like, I'm not going to force you to do anything you don't want to do. I'm just saying, from an ethical perspective, and I think I am correct, that it is stolen art. Like, it's just definitionally stolen art.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and
and they get mad at you for saying that. They get mad because you're correct.
yeah, and it goes back to like the affordability of it, and it's like, yes, you do deserve to smell good. Yes, if you like something, you do deserve to be able to smell like it if that's what you want it to do. But we just want you to know that there's other options out there. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
just be a dupe. And frankly, you're spending so much money on purchasing so many dupes that you probably could have just
Yeah.
bought the one bottle of something you really loved versus trying,
Sometimes people are addicted to those like dupes. Like so many people have shelves full of just like this one dupe brand.
yeah. And there's so many of them are so repetitive. Like I it's why I really stopped ordering like more affordable fragrances, like more like on TikTok shop, because I'm like, if I order one more fragrance that has a completely different like description and note breakdown and it shows up and it just fucking smells like angel share, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I do think that there's a lot of scams on the TikTok shop when it comes to fragrance. Like just so many ones that are so obvious to me because I know how perfumes are made. But like
Mhm.
to people who, I mean, what they're doing looks legit. Like they're putting things in a beaker and it looks cool. And the way that they're marketing it is what a lot of people expect from perfumery.
Mhm.
But when I see it, I just see somebody who's never made a perfume in their life and probably just ordered a prefab oil off of AliExpress.
Yeah, and it's dangerous
Mhm,
too. We don't know
mhm.
what's going into that. We could, oh God, yeah. That is whew.
One of the things we were talking about early on that I do want to hone in on a little bit more was you mentioned that like some people don't view your brand as serious work because you want to express yourself with this kind of joy and whimsy that you bring to perfumery. And it sounds like you are kind of changing your branding a little bit to streamline it. But I think that's also such a strength of your brand, because you show up authentically as you. When someone looks at you and the way you present yourself, then they look at one of your bottles, they're like, yeah, okay, like, that makes sense. And I appreciate that so much, even though it's not, we don't really share an aesthetic, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, but I know who your perfume is meant to resonate with and who that branding resonates with, and it just fills me with joy because we're allowed to be fun. Not everything has to be sex and gold and diamonds.
Yeah. And it's funny because I was going to do more of like a goth aesthetic brand because I was gonna make perfumes based on the music that I was listening to, and I mostly listened to like Midwest emo and like post-hardcore music, and I know I don't look like it, but And I was gonna do the whole gothy, witchy aesthetic thing, but then I thought, that's never how I draw, and I'm like, my illustrative aesthetic is so how would I design a brand by myself if I couldn't do it? And it's just not a natural aesthetic for me at all visually. So
Yeah.
I just decided I'm just gonna make it cute and colorful because that's what I know how to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there is like the Venn diagram of like the goth
Mhm,
Lolita and Kawaii.
mhm.
Um, but then also like I dare you to find a single goth girl in the world that doesn't have a Sanrio plush in her room.
Oh yeah. That's the type of emo that I am, is that I liked the Invader Zim and like Sanrio cute little things in my wardrobe.
Yeah, we
And
would have
with
skipped
my
gym class together. We would have gotten along.
with my rebrand, I don't want to scare people because she's doing a wonderful job, my designer, at capturing like the Sanrio aesthetic. I think that I'm a little bit like kitschy naturally with my design aesthetic, and she kind of brought it into like cute Sanrio, like traditional, uh, in some nostalgic elements like Polly Pocket type of thing that we're bringing in there. And she's making a lot of room for my illustrations because she's like, you're good at drawing, so you should put your drawings in the box.
Oh, that's
So
so
I'm gonna do
exciting.
that more.
I love that. I think there are brands that have that kind of cute DIY aesthetic that do it very well. I think you're in there.
Mhm.
Pear Fat. Cirrus
Oh, I
does a
love
lot of her own
Parafat.
drawings. Um, And there are brands that I don't think have executed it as well, and I'm not going to try to drag them because they're still lovely independent brands. I will say, what's the one we everyone jokes about it, so I don't feel bad calling it out. The marshmallow one with like the weird
I
clip
Oh,
see.
art.
yeah, Kais, yeah.
I don't know how it's pronounced. I do have a perfume from them that I really like. I think it's
I've smelled a few of their perfumes and they're excellent.
They
I
are.
can't, I cannot get past the clip art. Yeah, I hate it.
Yep,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Sayonara Phrases.
I have the marshmallow one somewhere.
Yeah,
And
like,
everybody has the marshmallow one. I have this one. I don't even know if this is a thing anymore, but I liked this one. It's like a
yeah.
strawberry tea, milk tea cake thingy.
I think they're so see, I'm all about like intention in what the design is, and I feel like they intentionally want it to be cringy and weird and clip arty. And I'm
I
okay
think,
with
you
it.
know, I think there are some people who are just like, you know what? The only art that I am good at is the art that goes in the bottle, and everything else, you're on your
Yeah.
own with that one. Just deal with it.
And that is authentically them, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that I mean that is one of the brands where I'm like, I know their fragrances are so good. I cannot bring myself past that graphic design is my passion level of
I
label.
love how they put little faces on the marshmallows.
It's great.
But like a lot of the other like purposefully cute, very self-done branding, it does read because it's authentic. That was my original point, not to Stumpkeis. Uh, and I really appreciate that you hold on to that, especially because the industry pushes so hard for you to come off as polished, as luxury, as this desirable.
I feel like a lot of pressure from people to not like from my customers, because my customers really like my branding, but I just kind of have imposter syndrome. I don't really believe that people like the stuff that I put out, like the look of it, because it feels like whenever I step outside of my community, the people who like my stuff, people are like, "Oh, that looks like it's for children." And then maybe you shouldn't be marketing perfumes to children. Like, oh, I actually asked the marketing subreddit one time, and god dang, I hate going on there. The branding. I don't know why I keep doing it. The branding subreddit, and I was like asking for advice on how to like design my box, because there was like a couple of different options I was going with. I was like, which one do you guys like? And they said, why are you basically marketing cigarettes to children?
Calm
They're like,
down.
should you really be making a cute box for your perfumes? I mean, that's kind of what cigarette companies in the 50s did. And I was like, okay, enough Reddit for today.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Um, no, because I think I mean the whole initial ethos we had with wanting to talk with you and with some other similar brands is that whimsy has a seriousness to it and it has a distinct place and value in this community. Because especially as the world continues to spin into oblivion, we
Yeah.
need whimsy. We need joy.
And it's like a cultural thing too, because in other cultures, the things that I like are not considered like strictly for children. Like, my stepmom is from China, and I remember when she first came over to America, she had Hello Kitty everything. And that was not a childish thing for her. That was just trendy, like an adult trendy thing to have, is
Mhm.
like Hello Kitty stuff. And I was like, okay, so like, yeah, you can be an adult and like cute things. It's just like not normal here for some reason.
Do you think people connect differently with scents when they feel more like a mood than a concept?
I think there are a lot of people who wear perfumes like based on their mood. For me, sometimes I'll wear it based on like, my outfit aesthetic for that day. There are a lot of different ways that you can like style yourself, and perfumes can be a really big part of that. I know that for on the indie makeup and more subreddit, which is where I first discovered indie perfumes, they often talk about, my cat just died, or I'm going through a really hard time. can you guys help me find a fragrance that smells like this because it would really help. I just want to smell something that's very comforting for me. So I think a lot of people turn to smell as a way to like feel better.
So moving towards our closing ritual, what does joy smell like to you?
I always thought that, I have I never really made a fragrance based on like a sad memory that I have. I always make something that brings joy to me, like fruity is like Saturday morning cartoon cereal time. And even fragrances I have that are a little bit darker, like Creep, it was actually a happy memory that I have. Even though it's kind of like a rainy, depressing graveyard for some people, it's like a good memory for me. Um, so really for me, it's just like happy memories or happy places that I like to be in, my state, stuff that reminds me of like corn, or, now that I'm in Washington, I want to make a Smoky Mountain perfume because it smells really nice out here. um, and yeah, I always try to make something that's uplifts me and makes me feel high energy and not something that makes me feel sad.
I love that, especially because one of my favorite perfumes by you is Melancholy.
Yeah. And it does have a sad name, but actually I made it for my husband. So it is a really happy perfume for me. It's one of my most expensive perfumes to make because I put a lot of like nice stuff in there for him.
Yeah.
Like tuberose absolute and tobacco absolute and stuff like that. And actually surprisingly he likes the recluse more than that one, but I think melancholy is like closer to the perfumes he wore when we first got together, but like a little bit more less mainstream, a little bit special.
It's a really interesting blend, and I do love fruity because, like, cereal is kind of having a moment in perfumery,
Mhm.
milk and cereal
Mhm.
perfumes. Um, but fruity, like, it so photorealistically captures Fruit Loops. It was astonishing.
I
Um,
don't think, and there's been several that have come out, and I don't think any of them have done it nearly as well as you have.
That's kind of like what I wanted to do with it is either, well, I never smelled any mainstream perfumes that smelled like cereal, but I know that there are a lot of like fragrance oil brands that have it, but the fragrance oils that smell like Fruit Loops are just like super toppy. They don't last very long
Mhm.
and they really aren't made for wearing on the skin. And when I realized that like citral and linalool and stuff together makes Fruit Loops, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a good version of this perfume that lasts a long time, so people can wear Fruit Loops all day.
Yeah. I the mainstream brands will never admit it, but I feel like you ignited the Fruit Loop cereal
There's
milk
no
feeling again. No, because I mean, when did Fruity come out?
2024.
Yeah, and it's just now brands are releasing this this
I think
whole.
that people have always wanted like a cereal type
Yeah.
of moment, but like before, like what I said in 2019, I don't think that a lot of brands had like the permission to go outside the box that they do
Mm,
now. I think a lot of them are just now getting like, okay, you can get a little bit whimsical with it. There's a lot of indie brands out now. People are all over the internet asking for weird stuff. So you
mhm.
can get a little weird with it now,
Yeah.
keep up with the trends. And I think people have always wanted a fragrance like that that wasn't like, made with fragrance oil, but bigger companies just haven't been allowed to do it because, yeah, you're only allowed to make this fragrance for the rest of your life because you work for us.
I can tell you that what joy is smelling like to me right now, and that is 100% beach peach. I can't stop smelling this one. It reminds me of like it feels like my teeth are sticking together eating like sour peach rings at the beach as a kid, and I love this so much.
I love Beachy Peach because just like one of the only 2 fragrances that I liked as, a child were, like, really fruity, like, strawberry, sweet body spray perfumes and, like, body tan lotion that my babysitter used to wear.
Yeah.
So, like, there was a suntan place near my house, and my babysitter would always go there and get, like, drenched head to toe in, like, the, whatever, Coca Cabana
Ugh.
suntan oil and then come back home to babysit us and like play video games. And I was like, man, that smells good.
What kind of feelings are you trying to evoke in your work?
I think that, for the most part, when I smell my perfumes or when I'm making them, I just feel really happy. And I think I want other people to smell them and be like, "Oh my god, this reminds me of like when I was a kid and I was smelling Fruit Loops," or when I was a teenager and I was really moody and I'd always hang out in the graveyard and stuff like that. So nostalgic stuff mostly, and happiness, and confidence, because I like being able to smell like me and not, like how everybody else wants me to smell.
And is there anything upcoming, exciting that you want to plug and let people know about?
Actually, yes. I'm going to have a charity fragrance event in June, second week of June. This is the second time we're doing it. It's called Hoshi Gato-thon, and we're going to have a charity box set of fragrance with my brand, the Alloy Studio, which is also a really awesome perfume brand, two other really awesome up and coming perfume brands, Maison de Animaux, I think that's how it's
Mhm.
pronounced. I do not speak French, and BRXSNT Brooksent, I think it's pronounced. I
Awesome.
don't think he's really launched yet in earnest, but he's gonna give me some fragrances. And
Amazing.
100% of the proceeds were actually 100% of the entire cost because we got the cost donated. So the 100% goes to charity.
I love that.
And then also, if you donate to any of our charities, then you get 20% off any fragrance you
Hell yeah.
want.
That's amazing. We love Alloy Studio too. We're actually talking with them next week as well. So
Yeah, I heard that.
yeah, we love them.
I've tried a lot of fragrance brands and I really, really like them. I think that they're actually doing something really unique. And so I'm happy that they're seeing a lot of success. And also, I'm happy that they're participating in Hoshigado-thon because I really like their perfumes.
Yay. Awesome. So can you tell people where they can go to find out about Hoshigato-san, where they can find your fragrances, where they can find you on socials?
Yeah. So Hoshigato.com, or HOSHIGATO.com. You're going to see a banner at the top of the website that says, if you see anything weird, it's because I'm working on Hoshigato-thon, because I'm doing a little test products and stuff like that. So I haven't put it up on the website yet. I'm still working on it on the back end. But yeah, we're gonna have free prizes and stuff. Maison de Animaux is donating some fragrances. And also, I forgot to mention, the grand prize for the customers will be a custom fragrance made by me. So that's the first time
Hell
I'm ever
yeah.
gonna do it. So
Hmm.
to raise money for charity, I will give away tens, perhaps even hundreds of hours of my labor.
It's incredibly generous.
We're gonna have prizes and stuff, and you can follow me on TikTok. I believe either Hoshi.gato or Hoshi_gato. I'm not sure. Hold on, let me look at my business card. Okay, yeah. TikTok and Instagram are Hoshi_gato, and YouTube is just Hoshigato, no dots, no underscores. And yeah, those are the three platforms that I'm on. Besides Reddit,
Awesome.
but I don't really do advertising on Reddit. I just like reply to people's posts on DIY fragrance.
Thank you so much, Ember, for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure. And if you enjoyed this conversation and want to hear more like it, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps us reach more audiences. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. We love you. Bye.
Bye.